So let's press on, do a little deeper dive into discipline 2 here, which is act on lead measures. And what's the principle here at play?
Leverage.
Leverage. See, it made you think right after lunch. That was a mistake. Okay. Yeah. So it's really just trying to do small things every day, okay, to add up to something big. So I'll use, my example when I became superintendent in my second school district. Is of course the board wants the school to do better on what? Tests. Okay, and so a lot of times the test now becomes our WIG, and so do you remember when Chris was talking about the WIG happens somewhere, the lag measure happens somewhere off in the future? Okay, so when do we always test our kids in K through 12? End of the year. Yeah, and so you're just kind of hoping that by the end of the year it works. Okay, but if it's not working, then you have to wait the whole next year to find out what you're supposed to do. So a lot of times we call it, a WIG, an oh crap measure. You wait to find out whether you made it, and you didn't. Like, oh crap, let's try it again next year. And so the board, wanted to improve our scores, and we desperately needed to improve our scores. And so what they've been doing for so long is, hey, teachers, just teach harder. Just teach harder. That should improve the scores. So they're putting the entire burden on the teachers. And the poor teachers, they don't know what that means. How do I improve my scores? And so, again, they feel like they really can't win. So I started to dissect the problem a little bit. So what are we doing kind of like on a weekly basis? What can we do every week to make sure that we do these things, that we can then find, we assume that these acts are going to lead to better test scores. So we call these things, again, strategic bets. If-then statement, a cause-action statement. If I do this, I believe something's going to happen farther down the road. So we started just dissecting, and this is the first one was like, well, show me your syllabus. I mean, show me your curriculum. Didn't have a curriculum. So hadn't had a curriculum the curriculum had been signed, but for 15 years prior to that, no one ever used it. And of course, what was so funny, I thought, is that in the last 2 years, they had adopted the Common Core. So they actually had 2 curriculum they weren't following. So it was kind of, well, how about we start with a stroke of the pen? Okay, let's get curriculum going. And so we brought in some people to start helping us build our curriculum. But usually stroke of the pen stuff needs behavior change. Okay, because just because you have a curriculum, do we know the teacher's teaching it? No. So then we had to put some measures in place, lead measures that every week, okay, the principals and the superintendent were going to do rounds, okay, through the teachers and say, show us your lesson plan, show us how it ties to the curriculum. Okay, so that's one lead measure. Okay, the second one is, okay, do we know whether the students are learning it on a weekly basis? So kind of like the theory of, like, if you take a little baby cow and you lift it every single day, by the time it's a huge cow, you should be able to lift the whole cow. So that's part, is okay, let's test the kids let's find a way to test the kids on a weekly basis to see whether they're learning, okay, the curriculum. Because if they learn it by the end of the week, well, then they're staying caught up. But once they're 1 or 2 weeks behind, they're never going to catch back up. Another weekly thing we came up with is, okay, if they're not learning it, what's our intervention for those kids that aren't able to get back up? So those are the 3 simple things we put in place every week. This is what we're going to do. Okay, we're just going to keep practicing those 3 things, okay, every single week, and sure enough, by the end of the year, the scores are better. Okay, so that's what we're really working on. What are those small little things we do, those behavior changes we put in place every single day, okay, that allow us to get that strategic bet that if we do this, then we're going to get a result farther in the end. Okay? So if you want to follow through on your little checklist, okay, we're entering discipline 2. And once again, we're up here where we start out with the learn, okay, and then we'll go down to the apply, facilitate, and curate later on. And we got, of course, our wonderful video here with act on lead measures.
In Discipline 1, we narrow the focus and define a clear finish line. We do this with a wildly important goal in the form of from X to Y by when. It's how we measure success. We call this a lag measure, meaning it's lagging data or giving us results data after the fact. Discipline 2 is act on the lead measure. The wildly important goal is a lag measure, whether it's the WIG for the whole organization or a contributing team. They measure the success of the goal. Lead measures have 2 characteristics. This is important. First, they are predictive of WIG success. They lead to the WIG. Second, they are influenceable by the team. We can get our hands on them. We can influence them. This is the golden rule of execution. Focus on a predictive and influenceable measure. For instance, if our WIG is weight loss, our lag measure would be pounds or kilos. In other words, our weight. There are two common lead measures for weight loss, and you already know them. Diet, how many calories am I consuming? And exercise, how many calories am I burning? Here's the challenge. Where do people typically fixate? On the leads or the lags? We always fixate on the lags, and we do this for two reasons. First, the lag feels more important. It's what we want. It's what we're accountable for. It's the revenue number. It's the production number. It's the quality number, right? It's the weight loss I want. I don't even like diet and exercise. Second, we tend to fixate on lag data because lag data is always easier to track, right? Think about weight loss for a second. If I want to see the lag measure, I just stand on the scales. Have you ever tried to track calories consumed or burned? It's challenging. Not only are lag measures easier to measure, half the time they'll chase you down. One of our clients refers to lag measures as oh crap measures, because when you see them, you're either saying oh crap or oh cool, but it doesn't feel like you have a lot of influence over them. As a matter of fact, if you feel like luck is playing a role in your career, you are probably looking at lag data. Take another common example, kids in school. The lag measure, grades, right? In this example, there are two excellent lead measures. Current homework average, right? What percentage of assignments are completed on time? And how many hours a week the child spends studying for exams. They are both very predictive of improvement in grades, and they are also directly influenceable. Now, if you're a little cynical, you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, what are these people saying? If I want to lose weight, I should diet and exercise? If I want my kid to do good in school, they should do their homework and study? Wow, these people are geniuses. So that may sound like what we're saying, but it's actually not. Everybody knows diet and exercise. What everybody doesn't know is how many calories they've eaten today and how many calories they burn. Every kid knows I have to study and do my homework, but how many parents know what Sarah's current homework average is, or how many hours Sarah spent studying for exams this week? There's a big difference between knowing a thing and knowing the data behind that thing. Other examples of lead measures include reducing out of stocks to drive store sales, complying with safety standards to reduce accidents, qualified prospects to increase new accounts, improved preventative maintenance to reduce plant shutdowns, increasing one-on-one coaching sessions with call center reps to drive customer satisfaction, right? Adherence to project management to reduce project cycle time. You'll get a lot more examples and guidance in the application and facilitation sections, but for now, I want you to be aware of some bad news, some good news, and some more bad news when it comes to lead measures. Okay, bad news. It's going to really test your level of discipline to track your lead measures. This is why narrowing the number of goals in Discipline 1 is so critical. If a team's got 3 or 4 different WIGs simultaneously, it becomes almost impossible to identify and track the lead measures, particularly in the face of the whirlwind. Even with one WIG, you really have to commit to get the lead data. The good news is we have great luck engaging team members in identifying lead measures. It's like solving a little puzzle, and they like to be involved, particularly around work they're intimate with, and you're going to want them involved. Edwards Deming taught that people who are within 12 feet of the work are the ones that understand cause and effect relationships the best. Okay, more bad news. No matter how engaged your team is in identifying the lead measures, they will probably forget all about them in about 5 days. Do not underestimate the amnesia-inducing effects of the whirlwind. It is a worthy opponent, undefeated in some organizations. This is precisely why Discipline 3, create a compelling scoreboard, is so critical.
Okay, so as we transition from the WIG, okay, as we get down to this point, WIG now becomes a lag measure. Okay, they're synonymous. Okay, it just means that it's something that happens farther in time. Again, think about those high school or the K through 12 test scores at the end of the year. It happens somewhere off in the distance. Weight loss happens somewhere off in the distance. Okay, so the lead measures now, again, are the things that are very, very close to us. Now, our lead measures are usually pretty easy to figure out. Let's use the weight loss example, like Chris says. They're pretty easy. Well, what's the tough thing about them?
Data.
What's that?
The data.
Well, even that, is it tough to figure out these days, like how much calories you're eating or how much exercise you're doing? No. So no, that's pretty simple. So what's the problem? Discipline. Okay, choosing to do it every single day. So that's when we start to get into these behavior patterns. As we start getting into the part of accountability, is we can know all this stuff and still not do it because our behavior patterns are such that we don't do it. But what you said in terms of the data is like absolutely. So if I want to lose weight, and so I know I have to reduce calories. Is that eating one raisin less a day? I'm reducing my calories, right? And exercise, is that like done? That was tough. Okay, so having a specific amount, okay, starts to judge again how well your execution's working. So I'm going to eat 500 calories less a day, and I'm going to run at least 30 minutes a day at an exertion level of 6. Okay, for that. So you see now I can see if I'm eating 500 calories less a day and I'm doing that, but I'm not getting the results I want, well, now what do I have to do? Adjust. But if you don't have anything to adjust from, you don't know what to adjust to. So once again, we're learning as we go forward. We're saying, well, that looks about right. Let's give that a shot. Okay, you do that for 2 to 3 weeks with discipline. You find out whether you're getting the results you get. If not, you change your lead measure or you change your quantity on lead measure. Okay, but then the biggest thing is we all know this stuff. It's not rocket surgery. Okay, in the end, it comes down to behaviors. Okay, the behaviors to get the discipline to do it on a daily basis. Now, what was key about lead measures? What were the 2 criteria for a lead measure? Predictive, what does that mean?
Will make a difference on the line. Yeah.
You assume it's going to make a difference. So let's keep this. This is not perfect science for us. So it's completely okay to test something in this case. And sometimes when you have a common goal with several different teams, a good way to learn really, really quick is if each team picks a different lead measure. Because now you're learning which lead measures worked. So you've got a boss and 4 teams, and they don't know which of these lead measures are good ideas. Well, why don't you take lead measure 1, you take lead measure 2, you take lead measure 3, and you do 4. And we're going to do this over the course of 3 months. Let's see which is most successful. I mean, you've now just multiplied your learning very, very rapidly by doing that type of stuff. So feel free again to play around with the way you use lead measures to find out whether or not your execution or whether or not your strategy is good. Okay, what's the other part? So predictive. Again, it's a think. I think. If I do this, then we think this will happen. What's the other part? Influenceable. So I'm going to give you a quick little clip here. So tell me whether you think this lead measure is influenceable. Where did my movies go? I can't find all my videos. Back one. Excuse me? Yeah, that's actually different. I'm on a different screen here. Yeah, I just don't know why. Well, too bad I can't find this for you. Well, shoot, I don't think I'll find it for you.
in the still of the
So you tell me whether you think this is a good lead measure. So predictive and influenceable.
here we are together all alone in the still of the night. And baby, all I know, my whole heart skips a beat when you're next to me in the still of the night.
What do you think? Predictive? What's this theory? Mm-hmm. So let's find out what happens.
Here we are, just you and me like this, with every sweet caress, and with every tender kiss.
So what do you think? Was that a good lead measure? What was wrong with the lead measure?
The assumption.
Well, we might be wrong. It was an influenceable part, right? Could you really influence, what was going on in that? That's a fun little video. Oops, get back out of that one. I love that look though. He's in the elevator. Look.